Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by MMA and kickboxing veteran Jesse Finney. Jesse, how are you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Jesse, you're running an MMA promotion called Shamrock Fighting Championships. You've got your next event coming up on January 26th, Fury. Talk to me a little bit about this event. Is this a pro-am? Is this an all-pro show, an all-amateur show? What exactly is this event going to be?
The Shamrock FC event on January 26th is actually is a pro-am, where we'll do, I think we do about 15 fights. We try to keep it where it's about 10 amateur fights on the undercard, 5 professionals on the main card. As of today, this morning, there were 9 tickets left on line. We've been lucky enough that we've sold every show out so far in 2012, and 2013 we look to go from, I think we did 8 shows in 2012, and we're going to probably do between 8 and 12 with the new deal that we just signed.
Will these fights be broadcast anywhere, an internet stream or local TV, something like that? Any place to see these if you're not at the venue?
On January 26th, there will not be on TV, or will not be streamed live.
I see.
Streamed live inside the casinos, and they will stream them live if they sell out, whichever one is sold out in advance. So, they're able to say, okay, we're going to stream it live throughout both of their casinos here locally, which they just bought a third one locally. So that's where the live streams will be. But we're working on a TV deal. I can't really get into all that right now, but we're looking to pick up a pretty good deal in 2013 for TV.
Will there be like a delayed broadcast somewhere, or like maybe just individual fights on YouTube somewhere with you guys?
Yeah, there will be. There's individual fights on YouTube, but the delayed cast, TV will be there, an audience watching, but they won't be filming this one.
I see. And how many shows in advance do you guys plan? Do you just do one at a time, or I know some promoters, they like to do 2 or 3 events planned ahead. How do you go about planning the events?
We are 14 months. We try to keep 15 months in advance. So, we'll pick up some subcontract deals here and there if we do private events for like the Ritz-Carlton, or we're doing private events for like the Shriners. We've done some things like that in the past, but we try to, on a consistent basis, we are already 15 months out right now. So we have 2014 already, we had 3 shows in the books right now. So we're pretty booked up to 2012. And then with the new purchase of some of our partners, we're doing some other shows. And we're going to be adding some other shows from overseas that we're going to be partnering with as well, which we'll probably announce here by next week. Next week to 2 weeks at minimum.
I see. You guys have.
I'm partners in Kansas City with it's called the Blue Corner. It's a promotion we do at Harris Casino. We do 6 shows up there a year as well. This year we're actually expanding that one up to 8 shows this year.
You guys in the past have done shows in St. Louis, Kansas City, Springfield, Illinois, all around the Midwest basically. Is that going to continue to be the plan, or do you plan on expanding to different markets out there?
No, right now that's pretty much the plan for 2013. It's what we're going to stick with right now, but we might be actually going some other places with some of our casinos. I can't really get into all that, but with some of the casinos going through nationwide once some other purchases are added. So we're always looking to expand the brand, and we're looking for to expand from where we're at right now.
That area, that market, the St. Louis market, the Kansas City market, that Missouri, Kansas area right now is really a hotbed right now for mixed martial arts. You've got, a lot of great gyms that are there. You got Grindhouse, HDMMA, a bunch of other gyms, your gym in there, mixed around there somewhere. Invicta's coming into that area and doing shows. RFA's got a show in that area this Friday. Why do you believe that area is such a hotbed for MMA, and it's kind of floating under the radar right now, but it is a hotbed?
I don't know. It really is. It really is. We did 3 big Strike Force shows here. We co-promoted with those guys, and those were 8,000 to 10,000 people in every show. We've actually done shows up in Kansas City with Strike Force as well. Titan Entertainment was up there before RFA bought them.
Right.
And then Invicta with Shannon doing a great job up there in Kansas City. I don't know. I think that at the end of the day, they're just they're tough guys. Tough guys in this area, and I think that we've been experienced from the promotion side as well. That we'll just continue to do things right and work our butts off. I think that it's going to continue to only get bigger and better in the St. Louis, Kansas City marketplace.
Mm-hmm. I believe it was either 2006 or 2007 it became legal in Missouri. Was that always something that you thought once it does get legalized it is going to blow up, or was this something that completely took you by surprise?
No, I think that's a great question. I don't know if it was 2006, 2007, but that's exactly whenever the pros were legalized in the state of Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since then, it's just continued just to blow up. We actually worked with moving out the athletic commissioner to get the amateurs legalized. I think it was in '98. So in '98, it's only gotten better, and I can only see it can continue to get better if DUFA can continue to go along with the gaming commission. Hopefully, they can get the UFC in St. Louis or Kansas City, and hopefully everyone can work through all their differences or make things good in St. Louis and Kansas City.
Mm. Now, Glory, the kickboxing organization, they're doing Road to Glory tournaments throughout the United States and partnering with different promoters. Have they come to you and asked to do a co-promotion and have an 8-man tournament in your show?
Interesting you say that. We are doing a show with Glory.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you the first to go ahead and say that. We're going to be doing a show with Glory. Just actually hung up on the phone with them about 3 hours ago. We've been working with them for the last couple months on getting our deal together, and we're already going to do one show April 26th in Kansas City at the Harrah's Casino, and then we're going to be doing possibly another one here in St. Louis as well. And we could do upwards of 4 shows with these guys in 2013 with Glory.
Mm-hmm. Is that going to
happen? It's going to be spread. Let me just so I can give you some details a little bit.
Oh, okay.
We're going to be doing some MMA on there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not going to be strictly Glory kickboxing tournament, and it will be an 8-man tournament. Prize is upwards of $40,000. I think it was $40,000. I don't have the details off for the tournament, and then we can actually have MMA on those shows as well, before or after the Glory tournament. Mm-hmm. Great question, by the way.
Mm-hmm. And there's also a possibility for super fights, not just the 8-man tournaments. There's also options to have kickboxing super fights as well, correct?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. And honestly, big Glory show in the States 2013 as well, so we'll see how that goes too.
Mm-hmm. Now, will it have to change the dynamics of how you run your shows? Because I'm pretty sure you guys use a cage. Now you'll have to use a ring. Is that going to be an adjustment? Do you have a ring for use?
Sure do. Mm-hmm. We have a few rings.
Right.
So it really won't be. I mean, we're still going to continue to do exactly what we're doing, but at the same time, we're going to be just adding those shows onto it as well, so we can reach out to different, fans that enjoy kickboxing or K1 or whatever they, Glory, whatever people are going to call it, but it'll be essentially just kickboxing.
Mm-hmm. Now, as someone who's fought both in MMA and kickboxing, do you have a preference as a fan watching fights? Do you care? Cage, ring? Does it matter to you?
No, I really don't. I mean, I really enjoy both.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I enjoy both. I enjoy kickboxing still. I enjoy boxing still. I enjoy kickboxing in the cage. I enjoy MMA in the ring. But at the same time, I don't enjoy boxing. They don't do a chill boxing themselves. So, I mean, it's I enjoy just fights in general.
Mm-hmm. I see. And with Glory coming in to the United States and trying to find the next American superstar in the world of kickboxing in the States, it's not very popular. Why do we not seen kickboxing become big in the United States? And you think that this Glory thing is going to catch on?
Man, I actually came from a kickboxing background with my stepdad, Robert Biggs, on Bill Wallace back in Wine World Sports. So I was always a kickboxing guy, and I think that even in the 80s and the 90s, and kickboxing was going, and then it never could take off. Never did. As far in the States, and Europe, it's making a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
But then never. World Combat League, we were dealing with Chuck Norris and those guys for years. We did some shows here in St. Louis. We put 4,000 or 5,000 people in. We did one show here, and I feel like that once the World Combat League and their money for sure. They're investing their money in their efforts. They're doing some things out there and see if it's going to go.
I see. Just curious, the name Shamrock, especially in this sport, that carries recognition with it. Why did you decide to use Shamrock Fighting Championships as the name, or were they, whether it be Frank or Ken, were they involved at any point in this? Why exactly is the name Shamrock part of this organization?
We actually started, believe it or not, Shamrock Promotion over 15 years ago. It was Shamrock Promotion. And then it was for years. And then all of a sudden, now I'm friends with Frank, and, just coincidence, really. I think more than anything, it was, we were lucky enough that just got lucky. I don't know. It's the luck of the Irish, right? I don't know. Shamrock.
Right.
And then we actually started the fight series about a year and a half ago, just from Shamrock Promotions, because I started as a kickboxing organization, promotions, and then we just started with the fighting championships, just like the Ultimate Fighting Championship. So we started our own fighting championships, and it was just a natural fit. I think to go with Shamrock.
I see. And you mentioned that you promoted some fights for Strikeforce. You assembled the undercard basically for Strikeforce. You also did some work with World Combat League. Now this Glory thing is coming in. Those shows, do they come to you when they're going to go into those markets, or are you contacting them? How do these relationships get formed?
No, they've actually we've been lucky enough. They've actually reached out to us and just referrals. And I know that the Glory thing, there's been some people involved, and they've actually said, hey, here's some people that we've dealt with in the past. They've always been first-class good guys. Got a lot of recognition from Scott Cooper, and Scott said, we were the best guys he's even worked with as far as doing shows with them. Just with the crowds and, professionalism and doing things the right way. And I guess this reputation, really more than anything, is to do it right. We don't really pull any punches, so it is what it is. We don't really sugarcoat things, or just do them the right way.
You mentioned Scott Coker, Strikeforce. They had their last show. As someone who fought for Strikeforce, as someone who worked with the organization from the promotional side of things, how sad were you to see Strikeforce go?
Oh, of course it's sad to see him go. I think it's, but at the same time, I also think that it's, it's a step in the right direction for the guys, that are fighting for him. And, those guys, Strikeforce was a great organization. I think that they've really only been the guys that have given, UFC a little bit of, a little run for their money, and they're doing great fights. But at the end of the day, we can't forget that none of us would be doing what you were talking about, what we're talking about, wasn't for the UFC. So
Sure.
The UFC wasn't doing what they're doing, and wouldn't be helping out promotions. And the UFC does a big show and helps our phones right now. One thing I can tell you that the UFC does stuff with Fox. It only helps our business. The UFC does some things and puts big shows, and it only helps our promotions. It opens more eyeballs. People want to see MMA. But back to your question about it, it's sad to see Strikeforce go up. Of course it is. But I also think that it's gotta embrace change, man. That's one thing in life that's always gonna have to change. So it's good. I'm happy. I'm happy for Scott. I know that he's happy, and things are good.
Did it make things, less sad that to see Strikeforce go? Because for a long time there, it was known that it was going to end. It wasn't just, they woke up the next day and said, hey, we're going to get rid of Strikeforce. It had been a long, long time that people had been speculating when Strikeforce is going to get the plug pulled on them. Did that make it a little bit easier for you?
I think it, I'm just happy it's over with. Because people just speculate, and then it gets a card because guys are pulling off, and then, I think in the long run, it's the best thing for the sport. I really do. And some people might disagree with me on that, but now there's the UFC. There's Bellator as well. But I think there's a pretty big gap between the two. And hey, people can say what they want about the UFC and think that they're not paying the fighters, or they're not doing this, not doing that. But at the end of the day, the UFC, like I said, they created the sport. And if you don't want to fight and they're not paying you well enough, don't fight. I say all the time to people, if you don't like it, don't do it. America, you got a choice. You want to go, lay bricks, go lay bricks. But at the same time, they're giving you this opportunity. You can either run with it or not. So I think that I was just happy to get it past us and get everybody moving in the right direction.
I see. We've talked about Shamrock FC. Now I want to transition and talk about your gyms. How many gyms do you exactly have?
Right now, I actively have 2. We're at the franchise side of things. We're franchised the Hit Squad, and we've got another franchise going in spring of this year. It's going to be in St. Charles, Missouri. So actively right now, we have 2.
And how often are you at both gyms? Is it pretty much a 50-50 split, or are you at one more than the other? What exactly is your time like at the gyms?
I would say probably 80. I would say 30% of the time, St. Louis gym. I would say the least amount of it is the Hit Squad over in Illinois, but I spend a lot of time in the promotion office as well. So I think that, but as far as gym-wise, I definitely am at the St. Louis gym a lot more than I am at the Illinois gym, just because it's so busy. Really busy.
Is the Illinois gym where most of the MMA, the pro guys are at, or is it, pretty much spread out between the two?
Just the opposite.
Oh.
All the guys are actually at the St. Louis gym. I train the guys at the St. Louis gym on every day, 4 or 5 days a week. So, I just don't have enough time. So if I'm going to train you, and I'll do everything, but you're going to have to come to where I'm at. And most of them live in the St. Louis market anyway. So, the Illinois gym is doing really good actually. So, but as far as fighters go, it's just enough time in the day that I've got to train them at the St. Louis location, because I'm going to spend my time early in the day there and then later at night there as well. I don't have time to go back and forth.
And who are some of the fighters that are at Hit Squad now? Because in the past, there were a lot bigger names, and now it seems like there's, Robert Washington. He's there. I wouldn't consider him, a small name. He's fought in big shows before, but who are some of the guys you're working with at Hit Squad?
Actually, Robert Washington's at the St. Louis gym.
Oh.
He's at the St. Louis gym. He's been coming to the St. Louis gym for probably like the last year, full time now. We're really focusing more on the fighters at the St. Louis gym. And I'd say we're having practices at the St. Louis gym probably 22 to 30 guys sometimes actively. So at the Illinois gym, we've got Lucas Lopes over there. We got Junior Silva over there. Those are pretty 2 experienced guys at the Illinois gym. So there's a lot of people that come and go, but the St. Louis gym consistently stays really busy with the fighters.
One of your guys, Adam Sela, he's going to be on this upcoming season of The Ultimate Fighter. Talk about your relationship with him. I believe he came to you in 2003. I believe it was just trying kickboxing to lose some weight and get some more confidence right when he got out of high school. Talk about, working with him and his development and what you're expecting from him this season and throughout the rest of his career.
Well, he's a kid that came to me when he was probably 250 plus pounds. Overweight, glasses, and his dad actually owned a heating and cooling company, and they do pretty big business. And he said, this kid needs to learn how to defend himself on these job sites. He's kind of a smart ass, and really that is what I'm saying. He gets him in case he gets in a fight. He needs to learn how to defend himself. And actually came in and had a lot of never thrown a punch, never thrown a kick, and just had some raw talent. And now, he's an extremely exciting fighter. He's 185 pounds. The next season, The Ultimate Fighter, which airs Tuesday. We want to fight. He fights and sees if he gets in the house. And can't really say much more than that. But as far as him coming in, man, now the kid's like, he's gonna go probably down a weight class. So, when he's all said and done, probably be a 170 when it's all said and done. So that's a kid that's lost 80 pounds. He just came in and learned to get in shape, and then all learn discipline and some respect, and he's doing really well. I'm excited for him to do well on the show. And there's one thing about Adam with the kid, for as long as I have been, you've never seen the kid in a boring fight. If it's boxing, kickboxing, MMA, he's exciting, man. He's an exciting fighter, always.
When you get some new students that come to your gym, guys that haven't been in your system before, when you're training these fighters, do you prefer to work with someone from the ground up, or do you like working with guys who have some experience in whichever, discipline it is, a little bit of kickboxing, a little bit jiu-jitsu, or do you like working with guys who, just come to you with pretty much nothing and you're trying to build them up? What exactly do you prefer to work with when it comes to training a fighter?
No, I like both. I mean, I really do. I would say, we come from mostly a stand-up background, but we also have a jiu-jitsu coach who just beat Pablo Popovich. He was number one in the world, won the absolutes. And so our jiu-jitsu program does really well. And then we have a great wrestling coach here, Dave Marigatani and Ryan Sutton. These guys were all-American wrestlers. So, I think I take a lot of their stand-up. And these guys, we kind of combine everything together. But at the same time, we have guys that have trained in other facilities. Someone like a Lucas Lopes who got 40, 50 professional fights, and beat Diego Alves to a kid named Joaquin. I don't even know his last name. He's 18 years old. This kid has never done a thing in his life, and he's as green as can be, and he could do it. This kid could really make a career of this. He's never thrown a punch or kick or nothing. So, we've got guys with tons of experience that I train, and the guys that have zero experience. So it doesn't really matter to me. I just don't want to get them. They got a bunch of bad habits, so, if they come from a different place, I like them a decent base if they're going to be coming with some experience.
Mm-hmm. There's very few fighters in MMA right now that, don't come from a specific art. They don't come from a wrestling background. They don't come from a kickboxing background. They just grew up, their entire life doing MMA. I think Roy McDonald is one of, the very few fighters out there that, just has done MMA, all their life. How close do you think we are from seeing, the fighters that don't really, being a wrestler, that's going to be not something that, will be that impressive anymore. It's going to be the guys who are fighting, or, fighters who are fighting mixed martial arts their entire life. Those are going to be the guys to have to look out for, not specifically the guys who, maybe they're a Division I wrestler or they won a kickboxing title. When do you see MMA, being at that stage where people have been trained their whole lives and everything?
Man, you're right on the money. I think that, I host a show on ESPN Radio here in St. Louis. I just said that statement you just said last week. Mm-hmm. I said, what's scary is these kids that are doing MMA now, that are 6 and 7 years old. I even said Roy McDonald. And these guys came up training MMA. And these kids weren't wrestlers or kickboxers or jiu-jitsu guys. These guys are MMA kids, right? And these kids are scary. I'm glad I'm not much younger. I can tell you that. Because these kids are, 6 and 7 and 8 and doing MMA, these kids are unbelievable, man. Mm-hmm. That's, you're right on the money. Everything you just said, I agree with 100%. Mm-hmm. And I say that, and I also think that the sport, one of the things I can reiterate that is, I can see that the sport has these kids that are just tremendous athletes that know how to fight. They're learning how to fight. Not just, tough guys. Mm-hmm. Now you look at the George St. Pierre's, and you look at Ben Henderson's, you look at John Jones, and you look at, I can just go on. These guys are athletes, right? These kids are incredible athletes that know how they're doing MMA. Mm-hmm. So it's impressive. It really is, and it's awesome where the sport has come and where it's going.
Mm-hmm. With the youth kids that you work with, are a lot of them, seeing all this MMA stuff on TV, and a lot of them, are they just coming basically to you and saying, hey, I'm not interested in playing basketball or football or baseball or any of that kind of stuff. I want to fight. Is that what you're hearing from some of the parents and some of the kids? Or is it still kind of, just they're just training in it right now and, just kind of test the waters to see if they like it? Or you're already getting to see some of the youth kids come in and say, hey, no, I want to, continue to build, grow, and then eventually amateur, then onto pro and try to make a career out of this instead of, kind of focusing on, I want to play basketball or something like that?
We are getting a lot of kids. I've got two kids right now, the Gustetis brother and sister that, they're 6 and 8 years old, and they love MMA, and they want to do MMA. They're not. They of course want to do some other sports a little bit because honestly, I don't want to see someone just do one sport. That's just my personal preference. I don't say it's right or wrong, but I grew up playing football, basketball, baseball, soccer, everything, boxing, kickboxing, and I love just the different aspects of it. And I would hate to see one of these kids get into it and that just be their life and just get burnt out on that. That's all they have.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's all, I think that's a personal preference with the parents. Maybe I didn't understand you 100%, but I think that these kids, they need to be kids too, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these kids need to be kids, and as long as they're doing something they enjoy, and just I don't want to see the kids get burnt out either.
Right. Jeremy Luchow, who was with Tachi Palace Fights, he was working promoting that show. Then he was doing 559 fights. He had his son, I think his son is like 10 or 11 years old, him fight an amateur fight. You know, it was toned down a little. There was headgear, shin pads, and all that stuff. How close do you think we are to seeing, you know, Little League MMA, so to say? How close do you think we are to seeing that? We're seeing even younger kids, you know, start to fight, you know, with, you know, different rules, you know, maybe no striking on the ground and headgear and all that stuff. How close do you think we are to seeing that, or do you think that, you know, that'll never happen?
Yeah, I like to speak pretty educatedly, and I don't really follow the kids MMA that close.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to sit here and say what I do and don't know, because I don't know exactly where the laws are at with that. I know that, you know, I mean, the thing is if it's monitored properly, and anything can happen, you know, but at the same time, I mean, they have amateur boxing, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Sure.
at 6 years old, and they have, you know, I don't know what the grappling matches are taking them at, 6 and 8 years old?
Right.
So 5, 6 years old. So really, what's they're wrestling at 5 and 6 years old? So I really don't see why you can't. Now, granted, I don't want to see the kids getting hit in the head, even with headgear on. You don't want to see these kids getting hit in the head with elbows and, you know, knees to the head. And I think there can be some modified rules. I would like to see it for the kids, but at the same time, if, you know, these kids are already doing wrestling matches and they're doing jiu-jitsu matches and they're already doing amateur kickboxing and amateur boxing matches, there are some things that I would probably say no to and be like leg kicks for these kids.
Sure.
And I know that they're doing it, but I don't want to see kids get slammed in the knees at that age. You know, but at the same time, if they're maybe no head kicks, something like that, no knees to the head. But, you know, if they're wearing 10, 12-ounce gloves and doing some boxing, or, you know, wearing 8-ounce gloves with, you know, the big pads in the front, I don't see a big problem with that. But do I see the states jumping aboard? I think that's going to be a while.
Mm-hmm. That was the first the 559 fights, that organization, when they put on that fight, that was the first time I ever heard about it, and who knows what kind of response it got. So I don't really know what's going on with that. But anyways, moving on. You mentioned that when you work with the youth, you're hoping that, you know, your focus is for them not to get burned out. But you personally, you started kickboxing at the age of 9, and you fought for a long time, MMA, boxing, kickboxing, all that, and you're still an instructor, you're a promoter, all that kind of stuff. How were you able to not be burned out?
Well, I don't know. Really, that's probably the real answer. I really don't know. It's my passion. You know, they say you're not working every day. It's not called work if it's your passion every day. So I mean, like, I genuinely, it is my passion to see these kids do better. To see, you know, to be able to put on a deal for my staff. Like, you know, I've got 100+ people on staff, and families of 4, families of 5. You know, I mean, it's so when you see these people, I think that's got to be a passion for you too, to be able to see these people make a living. You know, and everyone else, you know, make livings and careers of this as well. So I think that's what drives, and then also to see someone like an Adam Fellow. It really is to see someone like that just came from, you know, a kid that, you know, didn't have the most confidence in the world, and now he's, you know, going to be, you know, on a UFC reality show, and I don't know. I mean, that's really the truth, man. I mean, and it's my passion. It really is. Like, my passion always was the fight game when I was a younger kid, but my step trying to almost push it away from me the more I got into it, because he didn't want me to see me get burnt out on it, and I think he did the right thing at the end of the day.
You've been retired for a little while now. What led you to retirement? Was it just that you had so many things going, so many things on your plate right now, and you were being spread too thin, and the fighting, you know, that had to be pushed aside? Or was it injuries? Was it something serious that prevented you from continuing? You know, what exactly led you to retirement?
Well, I think there was a few things. I mean, A, for retirement was from fighting. That is, you know, A, it was I just didn't have the time. And I always kind of put myself on the back burner. And really, like, the last, 2 years of my career, I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this for me. I'm not going to focus as much on training my guys and doing everything else, and trying to build the businesses, and I wanted to be able to drive one last hurrah for myself. And then at the end, when I had bought Hughes' gym, and I had opened up a new facility from a facility that was like 2,000 square feet all the way up to like 20,000 square feet, and all these staff members, and then I was trying to train full time and really do it. And I was making good money, but when you do the numbers, my numbers were really, I was almost losing money by fighting, and because I had to spend time out of town if I was train properly, because I really couldn't train my own gym because I was worried about sweeping the mats. The mat was dirty, the bag wasn't correct, or just so many distractions, and then just then I bought Hughes' gym, and honestly it was just like it was too much, and it's something I had to go. I guess it was the sacrifice. I would sacrifice for everybody else and for myself, and I was just like to be able to help everybody else and do everyone else create more jobs and get the promotion company going better, and everyone else. I put everyone else before me, and still to this day, this morning I worked out and hit a bunch of pads and doing some stuff, but I really enjoy it. That's definitely I still my passion is the training, and training still to this day, but I just don't have time to dedicate full time just into training. And especially when you get to that level, fight Josh Neer, or fight some guys like that. I couldn't do that part time. I mean, that's all Josh does. That's all, and he deserves it. So all these guys are at that level. That's all they do. That's it. And I'm not saying that's the reason that I've lost fights or other things, but at the same time, like, I was trying to do too much, and these other guys are doing one thing. And if hindsight's 2020, should I have focused on my training from the very beginning, and then just open a gym later on? I kind of did it backwards. I opened a gym and then started training. So that's kind of where I was at.
You opened your first gym when you were 22. Why did you decide to, like you said, go in reverse? Why did you decide to open up a gym so young?
Well, actually, just told the story today for the first time in a long time. But what happened was I came back from college. I came back from school, and my stepdad had a gym. He was actually in the commercial real estate business as well. He had a small kickboxing gym, and sold it. And really, I was wanting to fight, and he was like, "Man, Jeff, I don't really have enough time." So I started just training in the backyard with all the old fighters that I trained with when I was, before I went away to school. And we started training, and it was in my garage, and then it just kept getting bigger and kept getting bigger and kept getting bigger and kept getting bigger. And then we went to the storefront on 800 square feet, and that one, we were, it was some point we were jumping rope on the outside of the concrete and road, and it was just like it was too much. And then we went from there to another facility. Then we went, 4 years ago and opened this other facility. So, basically we needed a place to train, and that's how it all came about. Is how I started the gym when I was 22.
I see. Jesse, I've always been curious, when you bought Matt Hughes' gym, slowly some of those guys who were at that gym started to go away, guys like Robbie Lawler, Kyle Watson. What exactly happened with them? Was it just when Hughes left, they decided that they didn't want to be around the gym anymore? Or was it, did you have a falling out with them? What exactly went on during that time?
No, there was no falling out. Sure. Essentially what happened was we took over the gym, and we let Mark Fiore go, who was the head coach, and it was a good. It wasn't anything negative. We actually paid him some money when he left, tried to go find another job. So that wasn't a bad deal. But a lot of those guys Mark was training with, Robbie was there. Robbie was still back in Iowa, and Robbie was in and out. He never was. I mean, he was there. He wasn't there. His wife was from Iowa. Matt hadn't been in the gym in a couple of years, a year, I guess they said. And really, Kyle Watson, what's the deal with Kyle Watson is we were trying to retain Kyle, and then we were trying to come to an agreement with him just to be a jiu-jitsu coach, and then we found out that he was actually trying to open his own gym, so we let him go as well, but we actually paid him as well and said, hey, we wish you luck. We found out that he was trying to open a gym behind our back. So, and hey, good for him, and he's doing good, and I'm happy for him. But, it was, as far as fighter-wise goes. And that gym was, everybody was there, but everyone was there, and none of those guys were putting money into it. And Matt really was just the face of it. He really wasn't there on an everyday basis. But there was a money guy, I really can't say who, that was behind him. But I mean, they had 30, 40 guys there. I shouldn't say that, probably 20, 30 guys there. But nobody was paying the bills. No one was paying for anything. And lots of things were disappearing. So it was better for us just to almost like start over. And we really didn't even want to market or advertise until we got the place cleaned up and get it going. And, you know, it was just like a hardcore, dirty place at one time. And ever since we cleaned it up and, you know, started running it as a place where my wife could go or your wife could go or just some people who would feel they weren't intimidated by, you know, guys running around with their shirts off and things like that. So ever since then, everything's been great, man. And we're actually going on 2 years next month.
Mm-hmm. Jesse, just a couple more questions. I thank you for being so generous with your time, but just a couple more questions here. Now, when you took over Matt Hughes' gym, Hit Squad, and you decided that you're going to run both these gyms, you know, what was the toughest part of having, you know, this new, dealing with new fighters, dealing with new people, and also dealing with this new space? What were some of the obstacles early on that you had to deal with, if any?
There were a lot of obstacles. I think, you know, one of the obstacles was, you know, you got a bunch of guys with, you know, that were at the Hit Squad that were, you know, no one likes change, you know, but here's the deal. They weren't going to embrace the change. And, you know, some of the guys did embrace change, like Robert Washington. He's doing great, you know. So, but here's the deal. They didn't realize that if I wasn't buying the place was shutting down.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one of the obstacles. But, you know, they couldn't accept the fact that, you know, we were coming in and, you know, you weren't going to train at 6 o'clock on a Monday during prime time when the people that are paying the bills are there, and they didn't like those changes. That was some of the hard things, but at the same time, you know, I think it all worked out in the long run because the customers that are there now saw that we came in and we took care of them and we kept the place clean and there, you know, it's not dirty or there's not like, I don't really want to get into all of it, but now it's a place that, you know, anybody can go.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can go, anybody can work out, anybody can feel, you know, welcome, and it's not a place that people feel intimidated to go to. That was some of the change. You know, my wife was actually 8 months pregnant whenever, 8 months pregnant whenever we were taking it over, so that was kind of a little tough because they're trying to take over that gym and then still running the other gyms and then, you know, dealing with the new kid, the new baby. Everything was tough, but you know what, man, we've been lucky enough that we surround ourselves with some good staff members. I mean, the guy that's running that gym I worked with for 10 years. You know, we surround ourselves with a good support system, and I think that those are the most important things that can help you in the long run.
Mm-hmm. Jesse, I'm just curious, your thoughts on, you know, coaching fighters. A lot of people say, you know, that there's that old saying, you know, those who can't, they turn to coaching. You obviously had a long, successful career both in the kickboxing, boxing, MMA world. You know, what are your thoughts on it? Is it something, coaching these fighters, is it something that you have to be good at to do, or is it something that, you know, if you have a mind for the game, you can do it without, you know, exactly having the, you know, the skill to do it? What are your thoughts about coaching? Do you have to be, you know, someone who's good at the sport they're teaching, or do you have to be just somebody who loves it and has passion for it?
Oh, no, I think that, you know, I think that you don't, I mean, everyone's different. I mean, I think with MMA even more than, this is crazy when people don't understand MMA would hear me say this, but I think out of all of them, with kickboxing, with boxing, with MMA is probably the most technical, you know, smart man's game. You know, and people are like, what? You know, you might understand that. The people that are listening might understand that they've done MMA. But if you can really stick to a game plan, and you know, that's why Greg Jackson's so done such a good job in coaching, because he's an intelligent man. You look at Bob Cook, you look at, you know, the AKA guys, you know, these guys are smart men, and you know, I don't think you have to be a fighter and been a kickboxer or been a boxer or been an MMA guy to become a coach. But you know, some of these guys out there that, you know, these garage gyms, you know, see these guys, and they just want to be seen in the corner. I could care less if I'm seen in the corner of a not. I mean, at the end of the day, if you can train these guys properly and teach them the game plans and work with them, I just want to see them do well. So I don't think that, I don't have anything against anybody that's never fought or put a pair of gloves on, or, I will say that I hear fighters, some of my guys talk about it, to say, oh, well, he's never fought before, how would he know, I'm like, at the end of the day, I have done all that, but at the same time, that doesn't make me, the best, but there's smart coaches out there that have never been in the cage or in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
They're students of the game. And granted, I think that they should also surround themselves with some other people that have been in the cage, and because you don't. At the end of the day, if you never have fought before, it's tough because the mental part of it.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. I mean, I would say the physical part of it's probably not the hardest part. The more it's the mental part of you have to understand what that fighter's going through a little bit more. If it's nerves or if it's overconfidence or it's underconfidence or just how to calm somebody or how to stick with them in the corner. I think a lot of that comes from experience.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. But at the same time, I mean, that's just my opinion. But I don't think you have to have been a fighter to become a coach either.
Mm-hmm. I see. And Jesse, last question here. What are your goals, both running your gym, running your promotion, altogether, what are your goals for 2013?
One of our goals, for 2012 was to be one of the guys in the UFC, which we did, in Bobby Volker, who's fighting on the GSP card against Patrick Cote.
Mm-hmm.
One of our goals for 2013 is to have, 4 guys in the UFC, which, we'll have 2 at this point right now, and so we're just going to get, a couple more in. I think with the promotion side, we're expanding with Glory and some other organizations. That was one of our goals that we really want to do is keep expanding as far as bringing in some other organizations, but also at the same time, we're looking to sign a long-term TV deal on the promotion side of things, and I think that's going to happen sooner or later. And really, man, just continue to keep doing what we're doing and surround yourself with, positive people and positive things, and, that stuff breeds. It really does. It breeds in a positive way. I mean, and, we keep doing those such things, and we keep saying thank you. I think the only more positive things are going to keep coming about our way.
Mm-hmm. Jesse, real quick before I let you go, do you have any place where fans can go to keep up with you, your gym, your promotion, Shamrock FC, Twitter, Facebook, website, anything like that, where people can go to keep up to date on what you got going on?
You can go to my Facebook. It's just Jesse, J-E-S-S-E, Finney, F-I-N-N-E-Y. Send me a message. I try to reply back to a lot of people. It might take a little bit of time. Just follow me on Facebook, and you can always go to ShamrockFightingChampionships.com. You follow us there, Finney'sMMA.com, and HitSquad.com. And you guys are always welcome to come down and train, do a training camp here, or do whatever you want, and just continue to, keep representing the sport well in a positive way.
Jesse, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot for doing your homework. I really appreciate that and asking educated questions. I appreciate it.